Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the melee weapon, the Tenet Grigori. But before we start, let's go over our commenter board. Our first and top commenter of the last video was NomadVO. And we have a recent channel supporters here of WhoopieWham, Nice Bear, and Colonel Sir 06. Thank you so much for your support. Unique and interesting things about the Tenet Grigori is that heavy slide attacks shoot a spinning disc that travels up to 10 meters based on your combo multiplier. This disc will ricochet off surfaces and enemies. Also, holstering this melee weapon will pause its combo decay. And this is a Lich type weapon, and so you'll be able to pick a progenitor element that comes innately on the weapon. The progenitor we're going to be using for our Tenet Grigori is a magnetic progenitor. And this is because magnetic will allow us to scale better into mid to late steel path, where a lot of enemies have overguard. And also it's a combined element, so it's not going to mess with our build where we're using electric. Before we go over the build, I want to point to a few stats on the Tenet Grigori. We look, its range is 2.5, which is amazing. We look at its attack speed, it's 1.08, which is slightly above average. That's pretty nice. Now, the one negative stat on the Tenet Grigori is its crit damage. If we go to a blank config here, you'll see that its base crit damage is 1.6, which is pretty bad. Now, we're still going to be focusing on crit and crit damage to get the most out of the Tenet Grigori. It's just that you won't be seeing the gigantic numbers that you may see on some other weapons, and that's just because of its poor base crit damage. Now let's go over the mods. We have Voltaic Strike for the Electric 60/60. We're using this to trigger our Arcane of Melee Influence. Melee Influence is on a melee electricity status, 20% chance for elemental melee status effects to apply to enemies within 20 meters for 18 seconds. Galvanized Steel for critical chance and critical damage. Organ Shatter for critical damage. Gladiator Might for critical chance and critical damage. Condition Overload for damage per unique status affecting the target. In the next slot, where we usually have our attack speed mod, we're using Berserker Fury for 70% attack speed. Now, on some weapons that have above average attack speed like this one, I also consider another mod called Vice, or Gladiator Vice, I should say. So remember, Berserker Fury is 70% attack speed when it's fully stacked up. Gladiator Vice is only 30% attack speed, so it's a lot less, but you get 110% crit chance. So this is a consideration you can kind of make yourself here. I personally feel like Scythes, their movesets are a little bit more sluggish compared to some other weapons, and that's why I go with Berserker Fury instead here for more attack speed. But again, you can just make this decision yourself if you want more attack speed or if you want that extra 110 crit chance. In the next slot, we have Blood Rush for 440% crit chance. Weeping Wounds for 440% status chance. In the stance slot here, there are two options, and they're both actually really close to each other. So we have Stalking Fan and Reaping Spiral. So let's go over the forward light first. The forward light on Stalking Fan and Reaping Spiral are pretty much the same as far as damage goes. Reaping Spiral is a little bit more fluid. There's a lot more forward movement in Reaping Spiral, where Stalking Fan's a lot more stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Now, having more attack speed with Berserker Fury definitely helps that feeling of stop, go with Stalking Fan, so it doesn't feel as bad. But as far as fluidity goes and the forward light, Reaping Spiral really does win that. The neutral light, Stalking Fan is bad. You would never use the neutral light on Stalking Fan. Reaping Spiral, the neutral light, is actually really good. It does a very high DPS, and it has 1/4 slash. It's just that the moveset itself is very like forward. You're really only going to be attacking like one or two enemies directly in front of you. So it's more of like an acolyte killer, I guess. Now, as far as the forward block goes, that's where Stalking Fan really wins here. So Stalking Fan, the forward block is extremely fluid, great forward movement, hits everything around you, good DPS, and it has a forced slash. So if you like using the forward block combo, Stalking Fan is pretty much the winner here. The forward block for Reaping Spiral also does good DPS, also has 1/4 slash. It just does not have great movement, and it only hits like right in front of you. So not super good. Stalking Fan definitely wins as far as the forward block goes. Neutral block, Stalking Fan is garbage. You would never use the neutral block. And Reaping Spiral it looks like the exact same as the neutral light. So it's a good attack, except it's only going to hit like right in front of you. So it's more of an acolyte killer. So out of these two, if you are a lazy piece of shit like me and you just like to run around doing the forward light, Reaping Spiral is probably your winner there. But if you like actually doing the combos and you want to do the forward block to get a forced slash, then Stalking Fan would be the way to go here. So you can try both of them out, see which one you like, and go from there. Again, I'm a little bit lazy. I like just using the forward light, so I'm going to go with Reaping Spiral here. In the Tennokai slot, we use Disciple's Merit. This enables a Tennokai opportunity, or it says opportunities occur every 4 melee hits instead of at random. So that's really nice. We have that slide heavy attack that throws a little glaive, if you want to call it that, or disc that goes out. So this will let you throw more discs. And the Arcane we already went over with Melee Influence. Now, one of the real powers of the Tenet Grigori, and actually there's a few weapons that are like this as well, but one of the real powers to this weapon is its unique trait where holstering the melee weapon will pause its combo decay. So if you look in the bottom right, we're at 11 times. I think it might go down to 10 times here. Yeah, it went down to 10 times, but let me go ahead and pull out the Prismagrakata now. And we'll give it a few seconds. I have Naramon on, so it's decaying slower than normal. But if we give it a few seconds, I probably should be at like a ×8 or a ×9 maybe at best. But let's go ahead and pull out the melee weapon, and I'm still at ×10. So this makes the Tenet Grigori and other weapons that have this specific trait, which is not a lot of weapons, but a few weapons have this trait. It makes these weapons amazing for hybrid type builds where you're switching from range to melee. Because normally, it's when you have a range build and you pull your melee out, your melee kind of sucks because you don't have your combo built up. So you can't make use out of Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, all those other really strong ones that scale with your combo count. This one you can. So that's really the strength of the Grigori, and again, other weapons that have the similar trait here. This is how you build out the melee weapon, the Tenet Grigori. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing for future content. So now we'll have a 5-minute gameplay portion showcasing the weapon, and when that's done, we'll come back to the orbiter and we'll give it our final thoughts. So I'll see you guys again after the gameplay. Alrighty, we're about to start this 5-minute gameplay portion up here. Let's go ahead and hack the terminal, and we'll get into the Tenet Grigori. Now, like all of my melee showcases, I do use one external, and that's going to be a pet that primes for me. And it's because pretty much every melee weapon in the game will use a mod called Condition Overload, and Condition Overload requires you to be priming for it to actually function. So one of the things that you'll have to get used to, including myself using the Tenet Grigori, is that slide heavy attack to get that little scythe out. It's a little bit awkward to get used to, but I think if you use this a lot, you can get used to it, probably more than I am. I don't use the Tenet Grigori a lot, to be honest. I'm used to either heavy attacking normally or doing like a slam heavy, not sliding and doing my heavy. So it'll be a little bit awkward to use initially, I guess. Like even me, I'm finding it a bit awkward to use here. But if you use this a lot, it should be a lot easier. You'll get used to it. That's what I like to do. I like to do the slam heavies. Ooh, I just wasted my heavy combo there. I have those old man fat fingers where I press it at the wrong times. I don't think I've done it recently in a melee video. That's it's been like 1 or 2 videos since I've actually done that. It was bound to happen. That's right. We'll get our combo back up. The glaive moves a little bit slow. Now it's kind of a niche tech. I believe it's one of Zephyr's augments that actually will make it move quicker. That's a really niche thing though, right? You'd have to be using Zephyr, you'd have to want to use that augment. But I can't remember what the hell the augment's called. But yeah, I think it would technically make it move quicker. Again, really niche though. And you'd have to want to do like a melee Zephyr, which is not every Zephyr wants to do a melee Zephyr. I don't want to do a melee Zephyr. I don't like playing melee Zephyr. Maybe you do though. I think my cats are having a royal rumble behind me. Hopefully, I have noise canceling headphones on so I can't hear it, but hopefully they're not like yelling in the background, fighting with each other. This is why I like Berserker Fury though. Like this is with 70% attack speed and I still feel like it's a little bit sluggish compared to a lot of melee weapons. That's why I don't want to use Vice on this. Where a lot of other weapons, if they have above average attack speed, I'll use Gladiator Vice. Like this one I don't want to though, because I mean, even with the 70% attack speed, it still feels kind of sluggish. All right, we'll have Thorax is here in a second. There they are. Let's get these guys out of here. All right. I think that was all of them. So that's 5 minutes, almost 600 kills. So we'll head back to the Orbiter now. Welcome back to the Orbiter, guys. So let's give our final thoughts on the Tenet Grigori. Well, it has that unique trait where it shoots that little scythe out when you do a heavy slide. That's a cute, novel mechanic. A lot of weapons have cute, novel mechanics that increase their kill counts by a certain amount. It's nice. It also is a Lich type weapon, so it gets a free element. That's a big deal. So it has kind of two things going for it there. And then really the big strength of the Tenet Grigori is it's holstering the melee weapon, pauses its combo decay. That right there, that specific trait makes this type of weapon a best in slot for certain builds, because certain builds do want to switch between ranged and melee. Now, the thing is, there are a few weapons that share this same trait where holstering the weapon pauses combo decay. And going back to the beginning of the video when we were talking about the base crit damage on the Grigori being only 1.6, that's a bit unfortunate. Some of these other weapons that have this same trait don't have bad crit damages. They actually have decent stats. And so, that's kind of a point off for the Grigori there. You have the opportunity cost to, use the Grigori or use a weapon that has the same trait but has better stats, And in that case, really all the Grigori has going for it is its, cute little mechanic where that slide heavy throws a scythe, which is nice, but does that really make up for a 1.6 base crit damage? So I think the Tenet Grigori is well above average weapon though. Again, it's got that free element. It's got that cute mechanic that gives you some extra kills. It's got the pausing of your combo decay. Really good weapon, well above average. It's just that comparing it to other weapons that have a similar trait, it's probably maybe in the middle or low end of those type of weapons. So that's my take on the weapon. Tell me what you guys think. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.